You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, GH fans. I'm pretty sure that Heather Weber finds out soon that her daughter Esme Prince is dead. And I expect her to have an extreme and violent reaction to losing the second child she had left alive in the world. This is Belinda from Soap Dirt, and we're going to talk about Heather and what she does once she finds out what went down in Paris and what sort of vengeance she may pursue on the ABC soap opera. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't, and now let's dig in. So, Heather Weber was willing to do anything to be reunited with her daughter Esme. Remember, she called Laura Spencer and spilled the beans that Esme's memories were back. She wanted Laura to alert the PCPD so they could arrest Esme, toss her into Pentonville prison, and then Heather could enjoy a mother and child reunion, at least until Esme's sentence was up. Heather herself should be sentenced to multiple life terms because she was the hook killer after all. But Esme would probably only face a few years behind bars. I think less than 5 for her revenge porn and setting up Trina Robinson. I mean, what she did was skeevy, but it wasn't murder. And I don't think the police had any pending charges against her for drugging Oz Haggerty. So probably just a few years. So this past week or so, Heather's been cooling her heels behind bars, waiting on the cops to deliver Esme Prince to her signed, sealed, sentenced to prison, and delivered into Mama's waiting arms. Heather wanted her daughter there so they could have time together and also so she could protect her, I guess like she tried to do when they were both at Shady Brook Sanitarium. When Heather finds out there's no reunion coming and Esme's dead, she is going to be inconsolable. Remember, Heather Weber had 3 kids, if you didn't know that. And now 2 of them are dead. The third, unsurprisingly, is in prison, last I heard. So Franco Baldwin, Heather's serial killer son, her second born child, and his dad is Scott Baldwin, if you don't remember. Franco was murdered a few years back by Peter August. Dr. Stephen Lars Weber is Heather Weber's oldest son, a child with Jeff Weber, remains in prison for murdering a patient. So not such a good doctor. And now her only daughter and her youngest, Esme, is reportedly dead as a doornail after going overboard with Spencer Cassadine from La Haunted Star in Paris into the frigid winter waters of the Seine. We saw Spencer's turtle dove wash up on shore, so presumably the drugged Cassadine floated to safety. But Esme is supposed to be dead and gone. General Hospital said Avery Pohl is done. However, they aren't always transparent because they like to say somebody's gone, but they're really coming back and they want it to be a surprise and yada, yada. So we'll see. I do hold out hope that Esme will be back someday because Avery Pohl is such a talented young actress and she was a really, really good little villain. But what we're talking about now is how her mom will react to her untimely death. Remember, the only reason that Esme followed Spencer and Trina to Paris was to try and get back her stolen son, Ace Cassadine. If she got her memories back and she still had Ace, she probably just would have run out of town to avoid prosecution. Right now, when she showed up in Paris last week, she had no resources to get her kid back because Nicholas Cassadine, with all his, piles and piles of money and resources, can keep the kid hidden from her. So Esme's idea was she would kidnap Spencer and then bargain with Nicholas for a trade, son for son. But Spencer kind of laughed at her, and I think he was right when he told Esme Nicholas would never trade him for his baby brother. I agree. I don't think he would. Nick would probably just leave Spencer to his fate because he's kind of awful. If not for Nicholas taking their son, Spencer and Esme might be alive today. And I'm sure that's what Heather Weber thinks. She already chastised Laura for Nicholas stealing their grandson. And Laura was quick to remind her that in the state of New York, it's not kidnapping for a non-custodial parent to take their child. That's kind of wonky to me. It's a little different where I live. I mean, what if the other parent that doesn't have custody lost custody because they're abusive or a drunk or a pervert, Anyway, on Friday, we saw Nicholas in tears at Laura's door holding his son Ace. He heard that his other son Spencer was dead and came running to see his mom. That puts Nicholas Cassadine and baby Ace Cassadine in Port Charles in close proximity to grieving psycho Heather Weber. I suspect Heather might break out and try and kidnap her grandson. I mean, in a way, it would kind of be karmic for Nicholas to lose his son to kidnapping since he kidnapped him from Esme to start with. I mean, I don't expect the Dark Prince to stay in Port Chuck anyway, but I do expect Ace to leave town and come back with a Saurus in a couple of years, older, much older, maybe even an angsty teen. So if he's gone with Heather or if he's gone with Nicholas, that still works either way. Obviously, the idea of the hook killer raising that baby is kind of terrifying. I don't think Heather raised any of her kids. Franco was raised by Betsy Frank. Stephen was raised by his biological father, Jeff, after Heather tormented his adoptive parents, and I think they ended up dead maybe. Esme was raised by adoptive parents also because Heather was trying to hide her from her dad, Brian Chamberlain. So maybe Heather thinks it'd be fun to raise baby Ace because she didn't get to bring up any of her 3 kids because, she was bat crap crazy back then. And, she's still bat crap crazy right now. And that's why she may break out and try and take Ace from his dad, Nicholas. I am quite certain that Heather blames Nicholas for her daughter's death. And that means the Dark Prince better watch his back because Heather might kill him to get hold of her grandson. I'm certain she thinks it'd be justice if Nicholas Cassadine died since her daughter is also dead. She might even bring her hook out of retirement. You never know. We are heading into the first full week of February sweeps, and Spencer's funeral is Wednesday. So I'm not sure if Esme Prince is getting a funeral too. I'm sure we'll see more in the weekly promo that comes out after I'm shooting this video, by the way. So a spoiler says someone surprising shows up to mourn Esme. So I wonder if somebody crashes Spencer's memorial to call attention to the fact that Esme died as well. Maybe it's Heather that shows up to make a scene at the funeral, steal Ace, and run off. You never know. That would be super duper soapy and a perfect thing to happen in February sweeps. We'll see. I just cannot imagine that Heather Weber is going to let this slide. She will want justice for Esme Prince, and there is no telling what she'll do to get it. Hey, drop your comments on this coming possible twist. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and definitely come back soon. And as always, it's Belinda from Soap Dirt.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.